So you're cast away on a desert island with 2 other survivors. There's Sunny. We'll be rescued soon. They'll be looking for us now. And Marvin. They'll never find us. We're gonna die. It's pretty clear which one you're gonna eat first. Or is it? To build a shelter and learn how to fish, you're gonna need them both. And you'll have to tolerate Sunny and Marvin in your organisation too, if you also want that to survive.
Hi Heidi and hi Brent.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, I have to say, we are in a climate of there's a lot of negativity out there. I don't want to start the show on a downer, but how does our mood or society's mood, does that have an effect on how we might be running our businesses?
I think there are some real pop psychology beliefs around positivity and negativity that have been taken from good data.
Okay.
And have a basis, in fact, but have been extrapolated sideways to drive us in really cynical and unproductive ways.
But glass half full's always best, isn't it?
Depends. Are you trying to ration that water out to go as long as possible? Then,
If you're thirsty, not really.
yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because we talk about positivity and negativity, and there are trends. Let's say pre-pandemic, there were trends where everything was positive, everybody was a winner, everybody got a reward.
Right.
That was kind of the way we did things. So there's a lot of positivity. Was it true, and was it rewarded, and was it authentic? And that's really the question. Now it's kind of switched and flipped the other way, where there's a lot of negativity. Doesn't mean either one is right or wrong or good or bad, positive or negative.
I guess, yeah, neither of them in their own right are a bad thing. I mean, I guess if you run a business, negativity is a way of saying, hey, we could do this better.
Yeah, there are a couple new publications out. One of the newer words that's developed is the concept of toxic positivity, which I would say possibly the old Monty Python always look on the bright side of life is the essence of toxic positivity. And
I admire anyone who could get Monty Python into a business podcast. Good on you, Heidi.
I would definitely, I can see that. I think that is the essence of toxic positivity. They really had something there 20, 30 years before the concept came out. The other topic that's come out in publications is regrets have value, and regretting doing something is not the worst thing.
Okay.
Because you tried something. You thought there was a business case for it.
Right.
It went sideways. So what do you learn from that? I might throw in the example here, New Coke. I think we all learned quite a bit from New Coke when that came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or Pepsi Clear.
Yes. Oh, that was another one.
Or Tab, whatever that derivative was.
Yeah. It's interesting because there are so many memes and motivational posters. If you don't fail, how will you learn?
Yeah.
Which is not the worst ideal. Then there's other posters that say fail fast and learn fast. Okay, great.
Sounds like a lot of skinned knees to me.
Yeah.
But
Make a lot of mistakes really fast and you'll learn something.
Right.
So is there a balance here between toxic positivity, where everything is joy, joy, happy, happy,
right,
Disney-style world and life, and negativity being a thing that we use to learn and advance ourselves with?
And I think that there's a real strategic advantage for leaders and for leadership, whether that's on the individual level working with the people you supervise, or on a strategic level looking at the organization, to embrace both of those sides.
Who within the organization is then responsible for sort of filtering out the wheat from the chaff and focusing the negativity into something positive and turning the toxic positivity into something a little more pragmatic and realistic?
About 2 years ago, I worked with a leader who suffered from pretty serious toxic positivity. And he mechanically started every meeting with, "Whoa, so happy to be here. Let's do the shout outs for what everyone." It's truly understanding, authentically highlighting the positive.
Yeah.
While knowing that, and this I think is a real crux of culturally what a lot of organizations are having problems doing.
Right.
We're 2 years into a crisis. We're barely climbing out of the crisis. Now we're in the midst of World War III. There's still a lot of political instability globally. With all of that at play, you can't come into a meeting and say to everyone, "Oh, isn't it ice cream and cake and sunshine and roses?" And identifying that it's tough where we are.
Right.
And we're going to grow and learn from this. And doing that on both the interpersonal as well as on the business level, because out of all of this negativity, there's a great chance to grow.
Absolutely. Now, where you want this balance, this yin and yang of toxic positivity, but also a bit of Debbie Downer or Marvin the Robot sort of Downer, do you want that throughout all of a company, or is that something you want at the creative end, or?
I think it takes an entire organization to decide and define who they are and how they approach and talk about things.
Right.
If you're, and you are in media, if you are in the media now, what do they focus on? They turn drama into news and news into drama. They're always focused on, this is so bad, everything's so bad, everything's going wrong, especially in New York local news. It's like the world is ending.
Something you've seen develop during the pandemic is the website Some Good News and the podcast Some Good News. And if you're looking at this from a media point of view, I think it is, even though I don't quite like the phrase, it's baked into your DNA. It has to be a choice of how you lead from every position. And I think that it needs to be a piece of your leader expectations, which would mean it's in the creatives, it's in finance, it's in HR. I want the finance people to tell me where the implosion is, but I also want them to identify upside risks for me. Upside, I can win from this if it goes right.
Right, yeah.
And it also depends, I really believe, on occupation. You would not want someone walking into you in a hospital room that has nothing but negative things to say.
No, no,
and I I was in the hospital and I randomly talked to the nurse. "So how do you like working here?" Because that's what I do for a living. She's like, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe how terrible it is here." I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't really expecting that."
Maybe more honesty than I want.
Yeah. Maybe I don't need you as my nurse. But and that really is. It was nice that she felt comfortable enough to say that to a stranger. Does she feel comfortable enough to tell that to her organization? And when I dug into that, the answer was no, I cannot talk to anybody about how I feel in the organization because they take it and use it against me. Well, there in itself lies a culture issue within that organization.
Absolutely. So they're not given that forum through which they can actually make genuine complaints.
Yeah. I think that is something that this crisis that we are now in a 3-year crisis. If there's something we're learning out of it, it's that lipstick on a pig, always look on the bright side of life, that a lot of organizations relied on up until 2020.
Right.
It doesn't work anymore. And you are truly tested to understand how through negativity you can achieve positive and realistic and humane outcomes.
Right.
Now, it's interesting. We started with a one-headed challenge, the pandemic, and it's turned into this monster with multiple heads, kind of Medusa.
What?
Yeah.
Besides the supply chain and obviously what's going on in the rest of the world, I do feel like innovation, everything's stagnating at the moment. Nothing seems to be moving forward. So perhaps there genuinely is that lack of optimism.
Yeah. You need to learn how to move both levers.
Yeah. Well, thinking of things going forward, what do we have to look forward to next week?
Well, how about the phrase, thank you for your feedback?
Ooh. Please elaborate.
Thank you for your feedback.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Yeah. How many times have you actually heard that and it sounded authentic?
Yes. Thank you for your feedback.
So you're basically telling me to shut up.
Not yet, but
Well, thank you both very, very much.
Thank you.
we'll talk next week.
Bye.